Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Soured, Libations and Conversations. It's your girl Dom. This week, this is a very special episode. Uh, I We're about to really get deep and get a little heavy up in here potentially, but I have been listening to a podcast that my former coworker slash girlfriend has created, and it is called Locked Up with Tiffany Nicole. On this podcast, she shares the journey, her journey of her son being incarcerated. And a lot of things took place back in 2020, and this is a vulnerable space for her. And I can appreciate her true, authenticity. Girl, I'm so country. And being able to open up and share with the world and connect with other mothers who are going through similar situations, and just providing a safe space for other people as well. And we know people who could have a brother, a son, a daughter that is locked up, and we never really discuss it because we probably feel like it's like hands off because you don't want to divulge too much. But you just never know by asking the right questions to somebody how they can open up, and they also need an outlet to be able to
Right.
share. So I want to welcome Tiffany Nicole to Whiskey Sour. Yay. Hi, Tiffany.
Hey, I'm so honored to be on your platform. Yes. Now, do we have whiskey on this show?
We normally do, but I was moving fast and then I didn't want to do too much. Because
Okay.
what happens is, when the liquor hits your system and it's
I
the
did
week.
bring my Moscow Mule. I
Well,
didn't
then
know if you
that's what we're gonna do. I mean, I was trying to keep it professional to make sure I got all my questions out. I didn't want my producer to be upset with me. So I was like, well, let me just be a little sober because then I know I can do my job very
No,
well.
I trust you.
But baby, normally I be turned. I am turned. Well, hold on, we gonna pause it because I'm about to go get a shot. Hold on. And we are back with some whiskey. This week's episode is not sponsored by Tullamore Dew, but I'm gonna keep drinking it until they do. So, welcome, friend, and let's just get it
Let's
started.
get in. Let's
Let me
go.
move my questionnaire up.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, so take us back to the first time your son kind of had an encounter. I believe you said the first encounter was in high school.
Yes, high school.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. It was his junior year,
Uh-huh.
where he just started to shift. And this one was just like, him with his friends and they just doing dumb stuff. And next thing you
Okay.
know, they got pulled over. And my son happened to have allegedly some pills on him. So he was in juvie for the weekend. And so the
Okay.
charges were so we sealed it, good to go. So that was the first incident, was like high school. But then after that, he went back to like being a normal high school kid.
Okay. And so from there, you said he graduated, everything, you had your support system, and then
Yes.
things are just kind of like shifting a little bit because you said
Yeah, it
that,
shifted where like his senior year, so he got kicked out of like several high school. So I had to like beg like one of the people, like, please let my son graduate. Please put him in a school. So he was in this program where he was able to graduate. And
okay,
him and his dad had a conversation.
okay,
And whatever that conversation was shifted him to go left.
ooh,
So I don't know what the conversation was, but when my son got off the phone, came into the room, he was just like, "I'm good. I'm gonna go outside with my friends." And I was just like, okay. And then like a week later, he started acting up. And then we got him through high school. He graduated. So he didn't know what he wanted to do. Fine, that's cool. You didn't know what you want to do. But mama know what she want to do. Mama want to move to LA because mama
Mm.
done with Chicago. So what you gonna do? Let me figure out life. Okay, so you figured out why I go to LA. Well, I figure out my life too. And what? Then he gets shot after I'm here for like a year or two. I'm here for 2 years. Yeah. Then he gets shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that like, that call? Just, I can only imagine you being like 3,000 miles away, and
I
that
know.
mama bird. Like, I get it.
So it was like I was watching some movie, a prison movie, and it was a young kid that was in the movie, and it was dang, do you remember Peoples from what movie was that with Samuel Jackson?
Okay. Okay.
So he was one of like the people. He was incarcerated, and he was like the OG in prison. So he would take some of
Okay.
the young people under their wing. And I was watching it late at night, and I got like teary eyed because the young kid had so much potential, but ended up going another direction. So he took
Mm.
him under his wing, and I literally was. I would never forget this night. I was on the couch, and I said, "Man, God, please never let my son have to ever go to prison," because it was like a really rough movie. Literally a week later, I get a phone call from one of his female friends saying, Miss Tiffany, I don't know, but I think your son was shot on Snapchat. She's yes,
Snapchat.
yes. She goes, I think that's him on Snapchat. And I didn't have Snapchat at the time. And she's just like, so I'm like, what do you mean you think? She goes, I think that's him laying on the ground that he just got shot. So that's how I
Oh my.
found out. That's how I got the call from one of his female friends from school. Then I call my homeboys from Chicago and I'm like, yo, this is what's happening. I need y'all to hit the street to see what's happening. And I get a phone call back and said, yeah, your son was shot. Yeah.
Oh
And
my
I was
God.
just devastated. Then I was on the next flight, literally all the flights. I couldn't get out that night. So I got out like the following morning.
Wow. And so, like, your son gets shot, you rush out, and so
Hmm.
what was he was clearly unstable.
Yes.
Con-
So I got the phone call, and then the crazy part is when I called my mom was just like, "Okay, we're all at." So my family, I have a big family. So when I tell you, it was 45 people in that emergency, like in the lobby area.
Wow.
I wasn't there yet, but my family came out and they showed out. Like it was
I
nothing but
love
the McHughes, Ellis. That's all you saw. And it
it.
was crazy. So my cousins are like, "Okay, Tiffany, we're here," and then they have me on speakerphone, and then the nurse comes by. She goes, he's not going to make it. My mom passes
What?
out. My mom passes out, and my cousin just takes the phone. She goes, your mom just passed out. We gonna call you back. And I instantly just dropped to my knees and I just started praying. He obviously he made it through. So I get to Chicago, talk to him. He's just like, Mom. I'm not finna like, I'm okay. I'm not one of those mamas that's gonna be like, oh, Timmy was so good. No, my son was fucking up. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like he
Yeah.
knew right from wrong and he decided to go another direction. And I tried my best and I begged him to be get on the straight and narrow. And it didn't work. And he decided to go another direction. And now here we are. Now he's incarcerated.
Yeah. And you talk about a lot too. You know, his dad kind of, I guess, kind of being in and out a little bit, and then him also having father figures, and it just
Mhm.
wasn't enough.
It
It,
wasn't my guy that I'm seeing now was in his life and he is very stable. He's what I'm saying like he's a good father figure. So my son literally in prison he tells me everybody else was good but they wasn't my dad. So he was around my uncles, my dad, my male cousins, my homeboys, my guy that I'm seeing, all had good careers. Nobody was in the drug industry. Nobody was gangbanging. None of that. Everybody had good jobs. So he was around good quality, solid black men. but it wasn't his dad. He wanted his dad, and I couldn't give him that, and neither could my uncles or my dad.
So, if you don't mind me asking,
Go ahead.
what was the relationship with his dad and you like, and because he clearly is around, because he says, okay, in sidebar, what the hell did he say that just shifted his entire life in a phone call where it's like, okay, you got this random one off that happens. And like you said, here's the thing, kids be bad. We all do stuff that can
Yes.
really,
Yes.
really
Yes.
shift it for us all. But it's like, okay, what happened where this guy has said something to you that really was that weighed that heavy on you, and he didn't share with you, where you could have even came back as a mother, as a friend, as a confidant, and say,
Mhm.
yo, it sounded like he got you fucked up. Sorry,
Right.
my
Yeah,
language.
no, no. I hope yeah, no, like so eventually I found out what he said to him, but I
Okay,
found out in prison it was mostly like do what the fuck you want to do. I don't give a fuck about you.
I
Like
knew it.
he said I don't love
That's
you.
what I felt when you said that. I
Cuz
was like,
he was my son's father was angry. My son was angry. So both people coming together having a conversation both are angry. So he said things that he shouldn't have said. I
yeah,
mean, in hindsight, now he regrets that he didn't say it cuz now he's asking for forgiveness. However, I mean, we can't go back because that's what
yeah.
shifted everything was those words like, I don't love you.
People do not understand that words mean things. I'm a huge listener of the read, and Crystal says that all the time. Words mean things, and people don't realize that until it's too late.
Right. Until it's too late. And now here we are. He's asked forgiveness and all that good stuff. But it was just like, damn, I told you he needed, I knew that my son shifted. And this is where single mamas need to understand. Like, I love my son. However, I'm not the mama that's going to baby you.
Hmm.
But I knew that there was a season that he didn't need me no more. He needed a male figure.
Yeah,
But he was around all his uncles and everybody. But that wasn't his dad. I
he was
couldn't do
learning.
nothing.
Yeah,
There's nothing that I can do. Like literally, I have letters from my son in prison saying, "Mom, you did all you can do, but honestly, I didn't need you at that age. I needed my dad."
yeah. And then his dad said that, and then it just,
Triggered and it shifted, and he just went
yeah,
left. Here we are, and now he's in car. And, I'm not saying that he holds, you know, all the blame for him being incarcerated because my son knew right from wrong.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? He knows right from wrong, but he chose to go down this path.
yeah. And I think the thing is that's hard is that when you're having those conversations, because I'm pretty sure after the stint in high school, the incident that happened, we know the typical conversation with kids. It's like, yo, you gonna end up dead or in jail.
That's all he got. It's all he got all the time. And then I would never forget. I'm not gonna mention the principal's name, but he's a principal back in Elgin,
Mhm.
Illinois. I went to him knowing that my son was shifting. I said, I need your help because he's shifting. He was on the football team, but he was on the football team, but he wanted to be like a little bit thug life. Football/thug life. Like you can't do both.
Yeah,
You know, so I'm like, you got to pick a side. You got to pick a side. And I'm hoping you're gonna pick football, but he ended up trying, But and the principal looks at me and says, he's either gonna die or he's gonna go to prison. There's nothing that we can do.
wow,
I would never forget that principal ever again. Never.
wow.
Yeah.
And I could just only imagine receiving those words, and then here we are, and it's like, and when we talk about the power of words too, it's the power to speak life and death over somebody, right? And so him saying that is mustard seed, like this little things that he planted, and now here it is, it manifested. And so it's just really, really just crazy. And then COVID happens before he is incarcerated, and you're
Yes.
here, and now he's out the hospital and he is on the run.
Yeah, so he's been out the hospital for a little bit.
Right.
And we had Mother's Day planned
Okay.
because COVID happened the 17th of March. Or was it
Yes.
May? Was it March? It was
March. It
March.
was definitely March
March.
because I had to
March.
run out of St. Louis.
That's right, March. Okay.
Yeah.
So we had Mother's Day to plan. So he was going to come see me
Okay.
on Mother's Day. He was going to spend the whole week with me out here in LA. But we didn't know what COVID was. They were saying, don't go outside. Don't go. Like they were saying not to go. So I was just like, and then he was like at my grandma, at my mom and dad's house. So I was just like, I don't know if you should get on a flight because
Yeah.
I don't know if it's safe for Papa and Grandma. Since they were saying like for older people.
Yeah. It was really.
Yeah. So I was just like, to this very day, I have to go to therapy because for that line, I said, you know what? Maybe you should stay home for Mother's Day because we don't know what this virus is. Because the incident happened on Mother's Day.
Damn, Tiff.
Yeah. But I had one of the best Mother's Day. Like he FaceTimed me. He did everything. I got flowers. I got stuff sent here. He took my mom out to dinner, like, or he bought her dinner. And it was like the best Mother's Day ever. And then my mom, so something that I kept texting him because I got into it with somebody in my family. You know how family members be. You just want to just
Hmm.
choke them. And I was texting him and he wasn't responding. I'm like, what the hell? Why he ain't responding to me? I was like, okay, maybe he out, so I'm gonna let him be. So the next morning, still no response. So my
Yeah.
mom, I said, Mom, go in Damiani's room and see where he at. She go, he upstairs. I said, no, he not. She says, yes, he is. I said, no, he's not. So my mom and I are arguing. He wasn't upstairs in his room.
You could feel it.
I
You
felt
knew.
it. I knew. And my mom was just like, well, he did go outside with all black on that night with a hoodie on and a black mask, but I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, why didn't you call? Like, what? Like a black hoodie, black jeans, black boots. That means you about to go outside and go do something that you don't got no business doing. During the pandemic,
Yeah.
ain't nothing open. Where are you going? And that's when it all happened. That's when everything happened.
Wow.
Yes.
Is are you comfortable with sharing? Yeah.
Oh, yes. I'm
Okay.
comfortable.
Like what happened?
So
Okay.
I call the story of, the story of Samson and Delilah.
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. It's
Okay.
been a while, but a
I
little bit. Oh God.
So Jesus still loves us as we drink.
Because what you got Jesus and who?
Girl,
You
that's
like,
my
I got my
favorite.
Jesus and I got
That's that's my favorite line. That's my favorite line. I always tell people
girl,
Jesus wine therapy. It ain't nothing like that meat on the side. I'm not talking about that
baby.
meat on the grill. That other meat. No, like him and his girl at the time, I don't know. My son was just all over the place. So
Okay.
they were talking about trying to allegedly like rob somebody. So my son was like, go sleep with him and go put him to sleep and leave the back door open. And I guess supposedly, like, I don't allegedly, like, this is, and that's how everything happened. They got to going back and forth. And then there was a gun involved, all this other stuff they were saying that was involved. And next thing you know, he's on the run.
Oh my God. Okay.
So that's why I say Samson and Delilah, like he was Samson, she's
Yeah.
Delilah. Like, so you met some female that told you that like you was trying to rob somebody, but it's like it was a home invasion. So
Yeah.
that's what it was. It was in a local newspaper. So it's in a local newspaper. It's on the internet. Like that's what he went to court for. It was home invasion. That's what he went to jail for. That's home invasion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And did they get the girl too, or he didn't?
Oh, she gone. They can't even find her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So when it was time for witnesses, court, all of that. Oh, even him, the person that allegedly that he attacked, is gone too. Like nobody showed up to court. Nobody.
Okay. We can talk about that offline because then I have listen. But here's the thing: like you say, you're outside of Chicago. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, um, I've been re-traumatized as of a few days ago because my cousin was murdered in
Mhm.
Chicago, outside of Chicago, about 16 years ago.
Okay.
And they had the guy, was multiple people there. They were trying to, it was home invasion,
Okay.
gated community.
Yes.
And I'm still to this day trying to process, like, why was he there? Like, she didn't live there. And it was just weird. So anyway, the person, one of the guys they get, he's in jail. We get notification of a retrial in January. They push it back. No updates.
Mhm.
They dismissed it yet the other day because Chicago PD did not enter in all the evidence.
What?
Yeah. So yeah, I already know. I'm like, hold on, that don't sound right. But you know what? I know where you are, and I know how it is. Because I don't even, if the witnesses don't show up to jail, to the court.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why nobody showed up. So they was trying to find some type of something to get my son to go to prison because the Elgin police is not a fan of my family. So my
Yeah,
family
I'm
has been,
like, that's what that
you know,
sound like.
yeah, they wasn't a fan. There's not like there was no evidence, there was no nothing for my son, there was nothing, and the witnesses and the people that were there didn't even show up to trial. They
Wow.
didn't show up. And the judge
Like,
was like, "Okay,
please,
what's happening? There's no witnesses, there's no nothing." So, the prosecutor's like, "Okay, well, we're gonna try to go another route to try to get her son to go stay in prison." So they
yeah.
came up with something else.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yes.
That's
Imagine how
so
many
crazy.
people that are in prison because of that though.
Yeah. Oh, all the time, and people that, like you said, like, it's just the system has to change.
It
And so
has to.
here's the thing: is trying to get our brothers and sisters to understand and be proactive in things like that, whether it be, you know, voting, understanding, going to council meetings. Who are these people? What are they doing? What's really happening behind the scenes? Because this is going to be a repetitive cycle until we figure out that we work better together than we do apart.
Right. Right.
Because this doesn't make you telling me that. I said, wait a second. Okay, the key people
Did not
all
show
are
up.
gone.
All are gone. None of them showed up. Not one person showed up. Not
And see,
even people that's
homeboy,
like in the building.
homeboy is probably thinking like, shit, I ain't die.
Right.
And I got it. I'm not, but I get it. But it's also, it just, what it really sounds like, what I'm hearing is
Mhm.
that your son did not need prison. Your son needed therapy.
He did.
And we don't know, and we always be so quick to throw people, black people
Mhm.
and brown people, behind us, some bars, as opposed to really trying to make an effort to rehabilitate them. Because Peter and Paul and Michael are private investors, and they get kickbacks from it. And
Yes.
here we are. So okay, so now your son is incarcerated.
Mhm.
um and how, and could you remind me of, what was the terms of his sentence again? Like, how long? What was the amount?
So he was looking at 30 years because home invasion, you can get 30 years for
Okay.
home invasion. But he ended up getting 10 years.
Okay.
So 10 years, and then you have to do 50% of your time.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
5 years.
Okay.
So he served 3 years already.
Right.
And he was on the, so he was like, so yeah, so he served three, but
He's in the hole.
he's in the hole. He's in the hole. Yes. And they're trying to say that they may extend his time longer. Yeah. So he was in Pinkleyville, Illinois, in maximum prison. And then
Okay.
he got moved to Canton, Riverside, which is a medium prison. So when you get moved to a medium, that means you're soon to be coming home.
Yeah.
So he's been on the straight and narrow through all this time. And now all of a sudden, they're accusing him of saying that that he sold some drugs, or one ticket says he sold drugs and one ticket says that he was smoking it. I'm like, well, which one is it? And there's no evidence. So there's no evidence at all. It's an inmate. If that's it. Like, how you gonna have an inmate be a witness? An inmate is a witness.
Yeah, that sounds like somebody getting money on their books.
That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah, that don't even sound. So I'd be interested. Okay, here's the plot twist. Here's the way my mind as an Aquarius is set up. All right, because you know me, I'm all about humanity. I want to heal the world.
Not
No,
heal the world, but go ahead.
still,
Yes.
still, I'm like, I'm not fucking with the daddy, but does daddy want forgiveness?
Mm-hmm.
Has he been in contact with him? Like, it's one thing for him to say to you, Tiff, like, I want him to forgive me. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, clearly you are not well,
Mm-hmm.
and you're saying things just to say things and be hurtful. But I wonder if there was some kind of way, because clearly the father, I would, it sounds like kind of had some sort of epiphany or breakthrough.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's I'm gonna give him credit. He's not the same as what he was before. He literally has hold himself accountable, said, you know what, I should have said that. Please forgive me. Like he even asked for my forgiveness, saying,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you throughout the time. Like, so I'm gonna give him credit that I'm not gonna hold nobody to the cross
Yeah.
because he
Oh,
did,
absolutely.
yeah,
See, this
you
is why
know,
I love when people are human and allow people to grow, because we always forget that, change is a part of life, whether
right.
we like it or not. And
Hmm.
what we hope is that we all evolve to be the best versions of ourselves.
Absolutely. 100%.
So, what has that conversation, those interaction at that interaction been like for your son and his father?
Well, they had a heart to heart,
Okay.
and honestly, my son said, you know what, mom, that's between me and my dad. And I said, you know what, I respect that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but they've rekindled.
Okay.
Um, it's not as strong, but it's progress.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
say my son is probably more, not probably, he is closer to my guy than versus his dad. Like he calls my guy dad
Oh.
because my guy does a lot for him.
A lot of it too is understanding the God within ourselves too.
Hmm.
Because if we are extensions of Him, that means we are Him. And when you realize that power and you know your power,
Hmm.
send your son this soundbite. You start to move. You move different.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of times, and my prayer for your son is to recognize that and realize that and move through that, because he's so much deserving of more, and he has so much to offer life, and you've given him so much already. And so it's like, share that with the world, be able to move past it. Like when you were saying in the hole, and then this episode, I say, oh boy, I'm about to come down there and whoop you, because
I
what is
know,
happening? And you
because
like,
I'm
this is
like, what is happening? Like, 'cause I don't know, like, but I don't know what it's like to be in prison. Like, what do you have to maintain, or I
yeah,
don't know. So I don't know if there was a situation where he had no choice. Like, I don't know. Like, it's easy to say like get it together, but we don't know what it's like behind bars. Like,
yeah,
he's literally been sitting next to one of the inmates, and another inmate comes up to another inmate. Like he said one time he's like 10 feet away, and the person gets stabbed in the eye. So my son has seen people get killed in prison. So I
yeah,
don't know the level of what he has to do to maintain so things
yeah,
doesn't happen to him. I don't know that.
yeah,
And some things he can't share because the phones are recorded.
yep, yep,
And then you can't write it because they read what you write. Then
mhm,
we text each other, but again, they have to read the text before they approve it. So there's
yeah,
so many things he can't share with me. But when he gets out, we definitely that's a whole nother
yeah.
story.
I would definitely, like I said, it's just about, I get it. Like I don't get it, because all we see is what we see in the
Mhm.
movies, on TV
Mhm.
shows, what it's like. And
Mhm.
I know a lot of the stuff is firsthand accounts. And they say, oh, if you go to jail, do this so you can establish like dominance, so they don't like punk you and all this stuff. But it's like, dang, y'all, we all up in here, can we all just sing kumbaya
Right.
and get along?
But
Like,
it's a
you trying
whole
to get
nother
out, I'm
world
trying
in
to get
there.
out.
Yes. It's a
Oh
whole nother world. Like they ask you, you have to pick a gang.
man.
You have to pick a side. When you get in there, you have to. It's no like I'm good. It's not like nah, I'm with Jesus. Nah. You gotta pick a side.
Baby, the way that I would be like,
And right?
I don't know what
You
you're
I
gonna do.
know, right? Like,
I think you,
and
I
it's
don't
crazy
know.
how like the inmates know why you in there. Like, how do they get your paperwork? That's what I want to know. Like, how do they know why you in
Dude,
there?
because listen, because you remember the stories. It be crazy because people be they talk. And you remember the what was it like the correction officer, like whoever, the girl, and she was sleeping with somebody and then ended up
The new
pregnant.
black or something, the new black or
No,
something.
this is in real life, girl.
Oh, real life.
Girl
Oh,
came up pregnant about inmate. I mean, it'd be a whole thing.
I think I seen that. I think
See, it be met, and I just be like, dog.
it'd be a whole situation and
It
people.
be a
Yeah,
y'all, when and y'all ain't got nothing to do but make y'all life dramatic because it ain't nothing else happening. I'm like, listen, I'm trying to get my diploma. Let me get the fuck up out of here.
and the crazy part about being the whole, they don't let you go to therapy anymore. They don't let you go to school anymore. They take everything from you.
Oh
So he
wow,
was in. So my son was in therapy. He was going to school. He was on the list to go to have a job, to work in the kitchen. All gone now.
wow, man.
Yeah.
That's it's so crazy, and like I said, I'd be so interested, like once he is released to like hear his story and be like, this is what I saw, because it's like it's gonna be a road to healing
I
and
know. I
being
know.
able to like unpack and release what he is seeing.
He's gonna be my co-host when he gets out.
Oh shit! Okay.
He is gonna be my co-host. So he's gonna talk from the perspective of being in prison, and I'm talking from the perspective of being the mother of, because being a mother, like, I still gotta go to work, girl. I still gotta pay these. Look, we live in
Yep.
Los Angeles, and it is not cheap here.
And you are you still at Bloomies?
No,
Oh,
I'm on
okay.
Melrose now. Yeah, I'm on Melrose. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
like, I mean, pay has went up, but cost of living still, cost just because my pay went up, the
Oh,
cost
his
of living
cost
went
of
up.
living.
Yeah, so, and I've
Shoot.
lived like 12 minutes from downtown LA. So all of this is like, it's high, but I love it here. I wouldn't change it for the world though. I'm not
It's
gonna lie.
crazy how like addicting this place is because of that sunshine. When it's
It's that,
sunny
it's
and
that.
that weather
Mhm.
is perfect, it gets you. Like I am like,
Yeah,
man,
like when I got the news today so the news I got this morning from one of his female friends is like, from Miss Tiffany, Damiani may be in the hole for 6 months.
but
I
do
got
they
that.
understand how that?
Mhm.
But they know what they're trying to do. They're trying to break you,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he hasn't broken, and so
Mhm.
that's how that it keeps happening.
That's why I call him Samson. Remember Samson in the Bible where he got his hair cut off because of that woman?
Hmm.
And then his hair was his strength. He had long hair. So yeah, he knows that. He knows that he's Samson. He knows what I put in him. So I feel like a part of me feels like they're trying to break me and try to break him because they can read our text messages. So
Hmm.
I always, speak life into him. That's the one thing I say, you know what, you're Samson. You can get through this. You can get through this because no
Yeah,
weapons formed against you shall prosper. So it's like, and they probably they're reading like, oh, this is a different type of mama. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah.
do you like ever? We talk about like our faith,
Hmm.
a lot, and like you said, you got your wine and your Jesus.
Wine, Jesus, and therapy, and that me.
Okay. Do you ever think that God could be protecting him from something else by being in prison versus
Hmm.
being on the street?
I believe um, that when he got shot and he didn't die,
Mm-hmm.
that God was. I felt in my heart like, okay, God has a purpose for him.
Mm.
I believe that. And then a year, 6, 8 months later, he ends up going to prison. And then in my hometown in Elgin, um, there was a really bad shootout. Like 3 kids died, and my son knows all of them.
Wow.
So I told him, he's, oh, mom, I already know about the shootout. And then I said, I said, Damiani, I said, I believe God is protecting you because you could have, no, not could, your ass would have been at that party. I know you.
Yeah.
And you could have been one of those kids that got murdered. So I believe in my hearts of hearts. This is gonna sound crazy too. Being in the hole, there's something about him being in the hole is protecting him too. That's why I
Mm,
haven't lost my mind because I said, okay, God, you know what's happening. I can't see I can't see,
yeah.
but you can see the other side. And you know what the people are saying in the warden, the guards, the COs, like you know everything. Lieutenants. So you must be still protecting him.
Mm,
So I'm gonna trust the process and just trust you.
yeah.
I believe that he is protecting him. I
Yeah.
strongly believe that. Because
And I,
now he's gonna be in there 6 months. That's a long time for me not hearing his voice.
I hope that it's not 6 months, but I just, I all I know is in darkness
Mm-hmm.
there's still light.
Girl, you better
There's
say
still
it.
light.
There's still
It might
light.
be far, but if you fixate on that light.
Girl. And I'm holding on to God's promise. I'm holding on to what he said to me. Because if he wanted my child, he would have took him a long time ago. He would have took him that day.
Do you like why is it so important for you to connect and get your put your story out there for everybody to hear and see, because that's really hard, like even here, like I appreciate you being very transparent and vulnerable, and why did you feel like it was important? Like, were you looking, I know sometimes people connect with people online, and
Mhm.
did you find that it was like no sort of like support or connect, or network out there for moms like you?
Yeah, so that's what happened. I was on my patio one day and I was surfing the internet and I love podcasts. So
Uh-huh.
I listen to podcasts like when I'm cleaning up or when I'm in my car. And I was trying to find podcasts for like mothers with incarcerated kids.
Okay.
And there was like, people that's transformation, people who have been in prison. But that's not, I've never been to prison, so I can't, I have no idea. So I'm looking
Right.
for the perspective of a mother. There was nothing out there. And then I was good old me and my glass of wine. And I was just like, let me start one. So I was just
Yeah.
like, let me start one. And I was just like, I'm about to tell my business. Oh, well, I'm about to be a blessing to other people. It is what it is. Because there was nothing out there. Like, even now, if you look, there's nothing out there, a podcast or any type of platform for mothers. It's always about the inmates, all that stuff is out there. But what about the mothers?
Yeah.
I
You're
think we're
right. 'Cause
forgotten.
you're right, because I think about like the mommy podcast that you have, and it's like completely different. Like,
Yeah.
good moms, bad choices. It's like
That's not
different
the
things.
s Yeah,
It's not
that's
the
not the
same.
same, it's not
Yeah.
the same. So, I created one and then I started a private Facebook group, and
Mm,
it's yeah. So, with that, I started, the, incarceration of the impact of incarceration on mothers. That's the private Facebook group I have. There's over 600 mothers I have in my group. 600 mothers that's in that group.
yeah. Wow. That is
And
phenomenal.
it's a blessing that I can be a blessing to them because some of them are really in depression, like really
Mm,
can't go through it, like they don't want to get up, they don't want to do nothing, and I'm grateful to God that I can get up, go to the gym, pull it together, but it's all through the grace of God. It's not Tiffany, it's God, because flesh would be like, I'm sad, I want to stay in my bed, but
yeah.
God keeps saying you got to keep going, you got to keep pushing.
Yeah. Because it's really, it's crazy how we have to trick our minds to be like that. And I know it, like you're like, it's just a moment in time because he's gonna come home. We got
Mhm.
plans. We're gonna do this together.
Mhm.
So it's part of the plan once he's out, to get him transferred out here so you guys are together. And you
Yes,
guys
so
can,
that's the plan is to get him out
okay.
here. That's the plan to get him out here so we can be co-hosts together. And then I also want to start a nonprofit organization for mothers, though. This is like sometimes mothers forget about themselves. They don't
Mm,
get pampered.
all the time.
They, what I'm
I ain't
saying?
picky.
Like,
I'm a dog mom. I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we forget about each other. So it's like we just forget. And then like there's mothers who I don't have any more children. I'm not having any
Okay.
more. So some mothers in the group have 2 kids that are in prison.
Mm,
Some mothers have 1 child in prison, but I have 3 kids that are free. It's just me and Marley. That's it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I don't have to be like, oh, I got to get up and take Jimmy to school. I don't have to do any of that. So
Yeah.
those moms I commend because that takes a lot of strength. So they
Yeah.
have to pick between, do I pay my rent? Do I got to pay my light bill? How am I going to send him commissary?
Yeah.
Like, that is a lot. And
Yeah.
they may not be able to send commissary because they got to pay their light bill or the rent or mortgage.
Yeah.
So I want to come up with something where some type of organization for mothers to have some type of outlet of resources
Okay.
because
That's
it's
dope.
just like I can't imagine having three kids and one is in prison and you know kids be begging all the time.
Yeah.
You know they be begging, and then you
They be
got one
begging.
right. Then you got the son incarcerated. Like, mom, you put some money in my books, and then she's just like, don't let her be a single mom trying
Yeah.
to figure it. Like that has to be a heavy weight on her. And I'm
Yeah.
grateful to God that I have like my guy. He's just everything. Like he puts the commissary on my son books. He says, I don't want you to worry about commissary. So he sets up automatically where it's automatically to my son every month. Because he says, I don't
Wow.
want you to stress about it. You worry about what you got to worry about, and I handle the commissary. And it's not even his son.
Yeah.
That's why I said that meat on the side girl will do some justice.
Listen. Listen. And people and I hope, like I hope, and I know that, your baby understands like how important that person he is to your person.
Yes. Yes.
And like really be able to soak that in and absorb that, because sometimes what happens too is we know that being in prison is they feeling so alone, but it's like, some people when they get out they don't have nobody, they don't have nowhere to go.
Nowhere to
He
go.
got somewhere to go, he got people that care about him, he has a family that is like, oh, we waiting for you, but what we not gonna do. You know what I mean? And
No,
like,
it's true.
yeah, because that's so crazy. Because like we see that sometimes, and that's how people end up going back, because it's like, shit, I ain't have nothing else to go back to. I got food and shelter inside.
Right. And I'm
Yeah,
grateful that he has something like I'm here for him when he gets out.
yeah,
And I know it's gonna be hard for him to find a job too. So like this is why I'm pushing my podcast, to grow it. Like you know how it is because you're pushing your podcast. You know what I'm saying? To eventually where he can like not have to depend on trying to find work from the man. Like when
yeah,
he comes home, my goal is, you know what, let me keep fighting and doing this. So when you come home, you don't gotta go look for no job because mama already has a job for you within the family.
yeah. And then just keep pushing from there.
And just
It's
yes.
shit. Listen, we ain't even got no records, and we know how chaotic it is. It's
Right,
like,
that's what I'm saying, right?
and y'all not trying to pay right, like right wages, like y'all be playing in
Mm,
our faces. Inflation.
they not, girl. They don't want to pay us right here in LA.
Uh, like it is so chaotic, and it's a different to I'm very grateful and blessed to be here for
Yes.
13 years. Like
Okay.
I think next week is like 13 years I've been out here. And
Okay. 4 days
you know
will be 6 years for me in 4 days.
listen, I tell people, I was like, this was already predestined, all of that, just because the ride to get here was so smooth. I already had a job. I like transferred my job. I was working at Nordstrom. I made friends right away at housing, and I was living with the person formerly known as my cousin, but I don't mess with her. So, because you know how that be,
No, how family be.
you know how family be.
Yes,
And
I do.
so it's just like I'm supposed to be here, and things are looking up. It's been definitely highs, a lot of lows. But,
Yes, that's why
but
I love like with my podcast and when I get on my channel and my platform is like people be like, "Oh, it's peaches and cream." No, it's not. It's not like I want to be as transparent as can be like some days I'm okay, then some days I'm not okay. And it's okay not to be okay.
it is okay to not be. Listen, and I tell people that, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "It is okay to not
Right.
be okay, because I am human. I have feelings. I have emotions.
Yes.
My mind is racing. I'm living my head. So today is one of them days. I just want to lay in bed and eat ice cream.
Man, like I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was gonna have to text you and tell you like I don't know if we can postpone because when I got the news about the 6 months, that really like struck a nerve. And I was just like, man, today was just like a rough day for me. I'm not gonna lie. And I was just like, you know what? I'm still gonna get on here and I'm still gonna speak. I'm gonna
And
speak
I
my truth.
appreciate you. I really do appreciate you because I would have been like, girl, take all the time you need.
I
You
know,
know,
right?
but I'm gonna say this about this week, and it's like a new moon tonight. All this has been the weirdest week.
Okay, so it's not me. It's
No,
been weird
Tiffany,
all
I've been
day
trying to
today.
cry for 2 days. I can't even get it out. I cannot get it out.
You
Like my cousins,
nothing. Nene cry. Was you trying to
like
do Nene cry?
I cannot. Every time I like, even I got the news about my cousin at work. Like I
Okay.
do 3 days in office, 2 days out, and I got that news at the end of the workday. And then I had mentioned to my coworkers early in the year, the girls that I manage, what was happening, and they
Hmm.
was like, "Are you okay? Like, do you need anything? Do you need to go home, or do you just need a moment?" I was like, honestly, I don't know what to feel because I didn't get that information from my family like you. I got that information from my cousin's best friend,
Oh damn.
that just so happens to live out here. The
Oh, and they
information even
told
about
you.
the retrial I got from his baby mama. So nobody's
Mm.
communicating. So I feel a type. It's a different thing. So she, thank God, my little cousin, she was living out here, but she's been traveling the world. Her job allows her to move about, but she's posted up in San Diego, and her mom flew out, and I'm like, yo, I might take that drive to like just hang out
Go
and
take
be
that
with her.
drive. Go take
Girl,
that
but I
drive.
was like, I can't even. Then I was like, man, I don't feel like driving. Because listen, here's the thing: I could wake up in the morning and go to San Diego, and it'd be an hour and a half, but it'll be 6 hours trying to get home. That
Oh yeah, coming back home
that
be
has
a
gave
whole
me.
nother.
I was like, mm-mm.
Coming back home be a whole nother situation.
I know. I was like, see, I don't know about all of that. I got stuff to do here in my house. I was like, maybe we can meet halfway. But it's really been a weird week, and I'm like, yo, it feels like, but I think there's like an eclipse as well.
It
Like,
has to be something because it's been crazy. Today's been the most craziest day all day today for me. I don't know
like
what's going on. I'm like,
I have
maybe
I
I
have
should stay in the house tonight.
listen, listen. I was like, after this, I was like, all right, you done made me start drinking already. So
I'm
I was,
sorry because I was on whiskey, so I was just like, sorry, what's
yeah,
up, sorry,
it's
whiskey? Let's,
cool, it's cool.
you
I
know.
was like, I should just order something and then just chill, because that's just where my mind is. It's like
Mhm.
I don't even feel like it. I'm like, I need to wash clothes. I'll do
I
that in the
know.
morning, but I'm just trying to chill because I was like, who, and just like, like really process what's happening. I don't even know. I just honestly, I've been numb for 3 days, so I totally understand what you are feeling and what you are going through, and I hope, like I said, I hope that is not what it's gonna be, you know. And
Yeah.
it's just really interesting, and it's just like, who can we call? How can we fix this? Because this is
I know. I mean, we've been calling a war. We've been calling, and no one's like really giving us great. Like it's crazy when you go visit the prison and when you call the prison, they treat you like you a fucking criminal. I'm like, I'm a taxpayer. I'm actually paying your paycheck. Well, for the state of California,
right.
not for Illinois. But I'm just saying, like, it'd be like, don't treat me like this. I just want to know what's happening. Like they're mean. They're rude when you call. Like rude. Like, what do you want? No. Okay, you done? Bye.
Wow. I don't understand people that are like that, and I know they get it because it's like a level, it's like like a layer of protection for themselves.
Right.
So like you try to empathize with them, but then it's just like, put yourself in my shoes, bitch. Like,
Right, just a little bit. And then you know what the really crazy part is? So my son's father is somewhat related. I don't know how he related, but he related to the mayor of Chicago.
the woman.
No,
Wait,
no,
she's no Lightfoot isn't there anymore.
it's Brandon Johnson. So I'm
Oh,
like, I call his dad like, I'm gonna need you to call your cousin. just to figure out why they got him still in a hole. I'm not asking you to get him out of prison. I'm just asking
Yeah,
you to get him out. Yeah.
yeah. Like give us something.
Something. I need you to have your cousin make a phone call. I know he's the mayor of Chicago.
Right. Like we don't know what's going on, like what really happened, and oh
I know.
Lord, cover him.
That's all I've been doing. Like I literally just been praying, asking God to cover him and to protect him, and I'm gonna trust God. I just know it's patience in this season and trust the process. Because I
Yeah,
know when I come out, there's victory on the other side. I know what I'm going through is not for nothing. I know
yeah,
it's not. I know
yeah.
something's coming out of this.
It's like, and all you need is faith of a mustard seed, because like you said, like you feel like they trying to break you, and I'm like hearing this story, and really just even just absorbing it. It's just like, oh my God, like my heart.
Yeah, because he's gonna need therapy when he gets out. Like I already like know, like he's gonna need therapy when he as soon as he gets out. You're going to therapy because I
Yeah,
can't help you. I
yeah,
don't know what it's like to be in there, but a therapist can help you and guide you through that.
yeah.
And that's where I want my organization to have like a therapist, because like some of the girls in the group, they say therapy is high. They can't afford it.
Hmm. It is, and depending on your insurance, like they don't
Right?
really.
Hmm.
And I will say that the cool thing was happening, because and hopefully, um, like what we're seeing more, because like basic things that we need as human beings, like wellness checkups,
Right.
women, we need two different ones,
Right.
like gotta get,
Right.
and so in therapy, so we're seeing more places pop up that are like wellness centers that house all those things, where for a monthly fee you can
Hmm.
have access to all these wellness services. So hopefully that becomes like the norm. I know there's one here in Silver Lake called Tia,
Hmm.
and so where you can get your annual whatever, to have therapists, acupuncture, all these different types of things that can help better you. And I always tell people too, because um I experienced hearing loss really early, and so
Okay.
I have to wear hearing aids, and so I
I
was,
remember that. I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah, so I my insurance was not going to cover anything, and so it was going to be four or 5 grand out of pocket just to get hearing aids. Yeah. And so and they had different things. Like I remember my friend to here sent me something, but because I, depending on if I got booked for something or was filming, like I couldn't have it where it would show, because like it would obstruct whatever is
Right.
happening. So luckily, and this is what I mean about Black people looking out for Black people community. When I went to get fitted for hearing aids, and then of course I'm going in blindly, not knowing, like hoping that my insurance is going to cover this. The Black woman that was helping me, was when she said that price, I was like, listen, I have that, but
I
that's
don't want
gonna
to give
take,
it.
I don't want to give it. That's gonna be a hit on my savings that I just really started getting back to rebuilding. And
Yeah.
so she told her boss about it, and he was like, "Oh, you wouldn't get the, like you make money on the sales or whatever, but you wouldn't get credit, but you could refer her out to the Department of Rehabilitation." And
Hmm.
so I encourage people to utilize their services in the city, because sometimes therapy is one of the things that it might not be like somebody that looks like you per se, but there are things available that like we said, like we're paying tax dollars, and they have different services and programs that are available that can assist you. So I
Hmm.
got lucky, and like I said, my hearing aids, they just slide right in. You can't see them, and that's
That's the best.
yeah, that's the best. And so there are our services available to people. So what you might do, the young lady that said that, ask her what state she lives in, what city, what state, and then go from there and kind of help her with a deep dive to see what's available, what resources are
Right.
available to her to get that therapy, because it's a lot. I have a cousin that's incarcerated, and I see um, his brother. It's funny. His name is Dominic,
Mm.
and his brother, my cousin Vincent, post about it, like how much he misses him. But I never, and I don't even know, like what to say. Sometimes I was like, man, like, because nobody, we talk about family, nobody really communicating. I don't even
Mhm.
know why he in there. So,
Right.
like I don't know when he's getting out, like what that looks like. So this has encouraged me to reach out to his mom and his brother, and ask questions, and
Right.
like how can I help y'all? How can I be of service? And like you said, like please send me the link to your Facebook group, because I would love for my cousin and his
Oh,
mom
absolutely.
to join that. Just so she knows, like she has outside support too, because nobody, when we get together and if I see them, nobody says how's Nick or how you really doing.
Because it's out of sight, out of mind. No
Yeah,
one's and family doesn't like. I love my family, but they don't never ask me how is Damiani doing, unless I post something.
yeah. And then
Yeah,
they don't even stop to even say how you doing, because this, I know this is a lot for you. And I
yeah,
think sometimes too, on the other side of that, I think that people probably looking at it like, I don't want to bring her down, or I don't want her
yep.
to
Or I don't know
break.
what to say to her.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. And
Yeah.
so I'm gonna crack a joke, I'm gonna make her laugh just
Yes.
to bring her spirits up, instead of,
Mhm.
because sometimes we just, it's different. We just want somebody you good, like, I
Yes.
know this
Yes.
is a lot for you.
Yes.
And depending on what your connection was like with him, and what his connection was with your family, it definitely, it takes a toll, and for you it feels lonely.
It does, cause he's my only kid, and like we was just different. Like when he get home, you gonna see the connection. You gonna be like, oh, I see it. Like there's a
Yeah,
genuine connection, like for real. Like I know everybody love their kids, but Damiani and I, the bond is just different, and you will
yeah.
see that it's always been different since he's been little, always. And so like he encourages me when I don't feel my best. Like he's in prison, he'll send me a message saying, "Mom, hold on. Keep doing
Oh.
what you're doing on the podcast. People need you." Like sometimes I'm down and out. He'll be like, "No, Mom, you got to keep going. Jesus needs you for the kingdom." Like he'll say stuff like that. He'd be
And
like, "Mamas need to hear your voice, Mom. You gonna be the voice, Mom." And I'd be like, "Voice, sit down." He's like, "No, Mom, you the voice."
that's and see, that's great. Like even in that, he still has high hopes and high spirits too. And
Yes.
before we wrap up and get out of here, I wanna tell everybody that you had Damiani come on the podcast. He sent like a little
Yes.
voicemail
Yes.
talking about, like, talking to the moms about, and pretty much telling them to, hold on, and it's gonna be a brighter day. What was
Yes.
that? What was that like? Like, how did
It
people
just
receive that?
a lot of people sent me messages, like a lot of the moms. Like my timeline was flooded, my inbox was flooded. They were like, "Tiffany, oh my God, it was refreshing to hear that. I'm gonna keep holding on." So many mothers love that. And so that's how I know. That's when I knew right then he's my co-host when he gets out. Because
Oh,
it's the podcast is locked in with Tiffany Nicole. So you're gonna be locked in with Damiani and I, because he's gonna talk from the perspective of his situation and then from mine. So
yeah,
like, and for his story, because he's gonna have a story to tell.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So and I want him to be a blessing to other people that are incarcerated too.
And just like, inspiration to kids too. Like, hey,
Yes.
listen to your mama. We be telling
Yes.
you, like, they're not doing that for just be open. But I think the cool thing now is it's like the world that Black people, we're understanding the concept of mental health more, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so if there is someone, who son, if you're listening, that is going through something similar, be able to be an outlet, but also get them an outlet, because
Mhm.
it could be things like you said, I just want my dad, but you don't know what that means. They can't really articulate that to you, but then
Right.
there could be a third party that can like
Mhm.
say, oh, okay, I get it. This is stemming from, okay, so what does this look like? And think of it from this perspective too. Like, everybody doesn't have access to their dad like he did, even though he said something mean. But like
Right.
sometimes people parents die. Like my mom died when I was 6 months,
Right.
and that is, people like you said, out of sight, out of mind. You a
Mhm.
baby, you don't remember, you don't know. My sister was 3. She remembers what our mom looks like in the coffin at 3 years old,
Mm.
and she's 39.
Really?
Yes, and my
She
sister's
remembers
30.
that?
She remembers that.
Oh,
And
wow.
so yeah, it's like different things that happen, and we it is affecting me more as an adult because my mom was so young. So yeah, like that has really affected me kind of more in my adult years, and just trying to process, because like you said, like people don't realize how things like could impact the way you love, the way that you interact with people, and different things like that. And so and I feel like when I try to, act like my aunt is my mom's sister raised us. So that's my
Okay.
mama. And my dad was married to my mom, but it's like also it's like trying to get certain information or learn about my mom has been a really tough road, because it's this completely other like side of myself that I don't know, because people are still living through their own trauma and don't want to discuss what happened. My
Right.
mom just didn't wake up one day. Like she was 32. So it wasn't,
Mm.
like she was like sick or anything like that. But so it's just a process. So I was like, yeah, I probably should go back to therapy to like unpack this, and so I don't feel like heavy about this. Like it's something I always think about. Like I lay down, I go to sleep. Am I gonna wake up? Like I don't want to be like that girl. I want to
Right,
leave.
no, but that's why I recommend therapy. Promise you I
Yeah.
do. I do. It's like for real to get that out.
Yeah, it's a lot, and the first step is acknowledging that, I'm probably not. I need to talk to somebody. So first step done, and I've been to therapy before. Is I went to therapy in college when the situation, like, when my cousin got murdered,
Mhm.
and had definitely, it was a tussle. It was a battle with the Lord, for real. And it would be my friend's mom that would kind of put things into perspective for me, who was a Jehovah's Witness.
Mhm.
um and I was like, oh yeah, I guess my anger is misguided. But it happens, and with, loss comes anger. So
It
uh
does.
yeah, so it's just being able to process that and being able to articulate that into words, and being able to heal and move on from it, and just cherish those moments and those memories in time. So I am
Absolutely.
looking forward to your baby getting out, not being
Yes.
in this hole,
Yes.
and maybe I could learn, develop a secret language where it's like, okay, so mama, this will really happen, but they on some bullshit.
Right. No, we do low key. We do have a secret language that we say, but but it is, yeah, we do have one though. Like the
Yeah,
stuff you say, I'd be like, okay, I know what you're saying. I get it. I get
yeah,
it.
yes. But Tiffany, I wanna thank you so much again for stopping by and sharing your story with us, and us being able to connect. And I hope that this brought a little bit of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Peace to you today to be able to express how
It
you feel and what
did.
you're
It
going
felt
through.
good. It felt
So,
good. I just don't want the mamas to feel like they're by themselves. And I'm gonna stand for the mothers because it is a lot. It is a
yeah,
lot, and I want to
man.
stand for them.
Tell everybody where they can find you on social media as well as your podcast.
Yes, my podcast. So my podcast, you can find me locked in with Tiffany Nicole. And that is my Instagram. And I do have a Facebook group. So the Facebook group is the impact of incarceration on mothers. And I don't want to leave the daddies out. They can join because I had a couple fathers that reached out to me. It's like, my son is incarcerated, so don't forget about us. So, but right now, it's the impact of incarceration that's on Facebook for the mothers. Um, and my Instagram, my handle is LIW Tiffany Nicole.
Yes, yes. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to this special episode. And we will see y'all here next week.
Bye. It was amazing.